On this week's episode, we're going to be going over how to get people interested in your meetup group.
Yeah!
Hey, I'm Gary Pope, and this is Late to the Table, where just like the intro said, we just talk about the simple things in life that make your gaming experience that much better. So before I've talked about how to find more people for your meetup group, I've also talked about how to join a meetup group. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about how to get people interested in your meetup group before they even show up to them. In a future video, we're actually going to be talking about how to host an actual event. And by the way, if you want to skip straight to the tips, you can go ahead and hit, I'm going to put a timer like here or something like that where to skip to. I might put something in the description as well, just in case, so you could just click that and make it a lot easier for yourself. And before we start the video, I actually have a couple of announcements. Last week, we did a little contest for a live stream that me and Christian did where we're playing Star Realms, and Leland Steele won this copy of Where Beast the Deluxe Edition. So I'm gonna be sending that out to him, begrudgingly because I'm paying for Canadian shipping. And then also had a second contest where, if you watched until the end of last week's video, I announced that I'm gonna be giving away a copy of Siege Storm and a Mask of Moi over here to whoever who commented down below in the middle of the video. And also I apologize, I actually said that this was a South Korean game. I was then corrected and I noticed that, yeah, it is actually a Japanese game, so sorry about that. But yeah, the winner of these two games is going to be, we're going to announce 3 people just in case. It's going to be a pretty annoying bit because they got rid of YouTube messaging, so you guys are going to have to contact me on either Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. Any of those 3 ways you contact me, I'll immediately start shipping this out to you. But I'm announcing 3 winners because if the first person doesn't get in contact with me, then I'm going to go to the second person. If not the second person, then the third person. If we go through all 3 of those people and none of them contact me, then I guess I'll do it again. But hopefully one of those people will contact me, and I'll give you guys like 3-4 days or something like that after this video releases. I'll also comment down below underneath your guys' comments just to let you know so you get a notification. PEUW Plus Games is the first winner, and he has his comment here, which, to be honest, I forget what he said, so I'm just going to post his comment there. And the second winner, if Pew doesn't end up reaching out to me, is going to be Eric Lowe Forte. And then the third winner is going to be Joss Estes. So congratulations, guys. I mean, well, not as much congratulations to the second and third. Congratulations to you if Pew doesn't reach out to me. But yeah, there you go. Remember just to message me on either Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. Anyways, and I got one more announcement before the video starts. And I'm actually going to be running another contest this week. If you saw the end of the last week's video, then you would have noticed that I said that I'm going to be running a contest probably every single video for the next like 3 or 4 videos until I run out of stuff to really give away. I'm trying to cull my collection and there's a lot. So the next game is actually going to be, this one's not sealed, but it is actually a pretty rare game, but it's Summoner Wars. And I think what makes this even rare is that I've actually had 2 copies of this master set. And this is actually the bigger box version. So if you're like heavily going to get into Summoner Wars, this is actually great because it's actually a way bigger box than the original version. I wish I still had the other box to show you the size comparison, but like the other box is like that over. So this is like way bigger box. And it's the master set, comes with all the pieces in there for that. And whoever who enters in this one is going to win that copy. What I'm going to do for this one is similar to last week's. I'm just going to have just like and comment below, and then also subscribe to the channel. If you do all 3 of those things, and I'll be able to check with all of them, then you are automatically entered. And if you just comment below and like the video and you're already subscribed, then hey, guess what, you're entered as well. So that's all you're gonna need to do to enter for the copy of Summoner Wars, the Master Set. And that's this week's giveaway. And I forgot to mention this with Leland, but if you are international and you're trying to enter this contest, just be aware that I'll only cover the first $20 of shipping. So, and also that's going to be the case for the people that won the last set. So I need to double check if they're international. I wrote it in the comments, but yeah, I'll only be covering the first $20 of shipping and handling. And now that we got all that stuff out of the way, now let's actually start the video. Alright, so I'll admit that I've actually been very fortunate that I've never had anyone not show up to my meetups, except for this one time when I said that I was sick just so people wouldn't show up, and then what ended up happening, I had to walk around my roommate. He's freaking right there in the way. When I was sick, and I didn't want to be the reason why people couldn't game one day, so I just said, hey guys, I'm sick, but you can still come over, and people didn't show up, so it was perfect. So anyways, that was actually the one time that happened. But that's all beside the point. What I'm trying to get at is that by using these 5 tips is actually how I've managed to, I think, get people to show up every single time, I think. But anyways, here's 5 tips on how to get people interested in your meetup group. So tip number 1 is going to be consistent. That just means post on the same day, the same time, just so that people after a while just know that that's your game night. It gets to a point where people don't even check their schedules and they just assume that that's the game night and it's going on, and then sometimes they show up even after you've canceled your event. Totally has happened before. But not only does being consistent mean do the same things on the same day, same time, but also means to be consistent with just how the things ran. Same rules, the same setup, just about everything, just make it consistent. For example, and the rules also don't have to be strict rules like no food on a table, even though that's not that strict, that's pretty standard. Just also make rules such as with my game nights I used to have where everyone brings something. Try your best to at least bring something. If you don't bring something once, it's no big deal. But it gets to the point where people may even start competing on bringing the best desserts or giving tips on where they found those cookies and stuff like that. It gets really interesting after a while. By the way, Gwen, you're fantastic in this. I'm not high at all. I'm like 2 feet up. Hey buddy, what's up? Alright, so tip number 2 is just to be active online. What's up, buddy? Yeah, you see the camera? Okay, you gotta watch out though. I'm standing right next to your poop. Crap, no pun intended. And tip number 2 is a pretty obvious one, but just be active online. If you have a post on Facebook or Meetup, if someone asks a question, answer it. This seems way too obvious, but I see way too many people that run events and they just don't answer any questions. I'll look up past events and I don't see any questions answered, and then they wonder why people don't show up to their events. Just be courteous. If someone asks you a question, then answer it. It happens all the time, like just common sense. But along with being active online, it's not just responding to questions, it's also being proactive. Sometimes just ask what people feel like playing, or if you have something that you feel like playing yourself, just mention it in the post. It's also very good to do that because what ends up happening is that even though I've had experiences where people don't respond, I've also had experiences where people don't respond, but then I go to the event or I'm hosting the event, and then people ask about the game and say, hey, are we playing so-and-so game? And you'd be surprised at how many people actually do that. You're probably right in the way of the mic, buddy. How you doing? So tip number 3 is just to post in multiple different places. And surprisingly, I don't see that many people actually doing this, but post on multiple platforms such as Facebook and Meetup. And not only post on both Facebook and Meetup, but post in multiple groups as well. For example, I personally post on both Facebook and Meetup. I have my post on Facebook public, and then in Meetup, I also post in at least 3 different groups. I'm an organizer for several different groups. So I post in 3 to 4 of the groups that are relative in some way, shape, or form. The end result is that I'll have maybe 1 to 2 people join per group or per post. And over time, that ends up being like 10 more people every single time I post something. But the reason why you need to do this, besides getting 1 to 2 people to go to every single time, it's like as if you was to take a flyer and put it at your local library to have them join your group, but then you only went to the library and you only posted the flyer at the library, when you could post at your local donut shop, you could post at the coffee shop, you could post, I don't know, at the local school. You could post in a whole bunch of different places, so why just focus on just one platform? And actually, what I've noticed over time is that Meetup is fantastic for meeting other new board gamers because they're trying to find a group, while Facebook is great for keeping them actually together and keeping them communicating with each other since everyone is on Facebook so often. Now, tip number 4 is something I rarely actually see people use, and that's take advantage of the guest count list. Now, what this is a feature on Meetup where you can actually mark how many guests you have coming, even though you don't have to have it officially say who's coming. Now, I'm not saying fudge the numbers at all. That's actually a very bad thing to do, because if you say that there's like 60 people coming, people show up and there's 5 of you, then yeah, they're never gonna come again. But what I mean by using this guest count list is I'll go across all platforms and then just show on all my Meetup groups and show the actual total amount of people going. So let's say, for example, if 7 people say on Facebook that they're coming to this event, what I'll do is I'll then go on Meetup and then add to my guest count and say that I have 6 guests coming with me. So then on both Facebook and Meetup, it shows I have 7 people coming. And then this goes back to tip number 3, which is to post in multiple places, because what ends up happening is that people will see on all platforms the actual number of people going. Except for Facebook, because Facebook just doesn't have this stupid feature yet for some odd reason. If there's one thing that's important, people like to see numbers, people like to see that it's active, people like to see that other people are going. So if they see these numbers, then they'll be more likely to end up going to this group. Camera down, arms getting tired at this point. Really cool, but really? You're gonna be laid down right on top of me. All right, so the camera's now on my dog. The camera's moving, it's because of him. Blame him. Wow, this is actually might work. So tip number 5 is actually going to be just take photos of every single event. I've been doing this since day one, and it's as simple as just taking 2 to 3 photos every single event. What I normally do is I'll usually take photos of people actually having fun, or I'll take photos of the games that we're playing, and this does a lot of talking for you. You don't have to try convincing people because they could just see the photos. I mean, during my first event, I had 3 people show up and I showed pictures of them while they're playing games. I love doing candid photos, so I didn't like say, hey, smile for the camera. I just took pictures of people having fun. I made sure to put online just the ones where it showed people having fun, the games we were playing, and also since it showed the different games, people didn't have to ask, oh, do we play Monopoly, or do we play this, do we play that? They just knew by the pictures. Pictures speak 1,000 words. Okay, let me stop annoying my dog now. Even though he actually seemed unbothered by it, like he's just like, hey, whatever. He's just, I love this guy. But those are basically my 5 tips on how to get people interested in your meetup group. I've been using this for I think about like 3-4 years now, and I've gone from having just 4 people at my game nights to now I don't even really host at my place anymore. I have events at game stores and bars and stuff like that where we're getting like 30 people plus or whatever. But hopefully that was interesting for you and helpful for you. Be sure to let me know in the comments down below some of the ways that you get people attracted to your game nights. It'd be very interesting to learn new things in this category. And not only that, my arm's getting extremely tired from doing this whole vlogging. But I'm really curious, so do you have your game nights more inclusive where it's maybe just you and a couple other friends and that's how you keep it, and you maybe have a rotating group of friends? Or is it like big and huge where you're renting out places? I've heard of people doing this and I've been so interested in doing this. Like they'll have like 100 people show up every single week. That's crazy. Anyways, that's the end of the video. I'm Gary Pope and this is Late to the Table, and remember, it's the simple things in life. See ya. He's such an attention seeker, even though I hang out with him like all day. I'm dorn. All right.